Yellow, all you awkward mother truckers. Shut the front door and get the F out my house. But I digress. I'm Cheesecake. Welcome to the channel. So I love Final Fantasy VII, like a lot of us do. But I love these swords even more. Two iconic weapons, Cloud's Buster Sword and Sephiroth's Masamune. We'll be unsheathing them in just a moment.
You're no match for me. I'm Cheesecake.
So like any fresh 18-year-old in 2003, I bought things that I couldn't when I was 17. First on the list was the Buster Sword and Masamune, baby. My Buster Sword's heavy, over 20 pounds. All the weight's past the guard, though. Both these swords are full tang, so that way you can actually swing them battle ready. My Buster Sword's 51 inches long. It's pretty crazy. I've gotten used to swinging it around over the years, though. Sephiroth's sword that I have is almost 6 foot long. I've always mistakenly called it the Masamune, but that's because of the story of the swords. The master Masamune and the apprentice Muramasa. Actually, it's kind of a cool story. It's where the name of the sword came from. In Final Fantasy VII, as Cloud, you could also get the Muramasa. These were two sword makers that actually existed in different times, though this story brings them together, you know, and it's just a story, kind of a story about good and evil, things like that. But so anyways, these two swordsmiths, who in this story were a master and apprentice, Master Goro Nyodo Masamune, and the apprentice was Muramasa Sengo. So the apprentice thinks he made a better sword than the master. They decide to tie their swords one at a time on a tree that's dangling with the blade edge in the water. See what it cuts, you know, with no resistance from a sword wielder, and go from there. So the apprentice goes first, ties his sword to the branch. Another branch comes by, it cuts the branch cleanly in half. Then a leaf comes by, it cuts the leaf cleanly in half. A fish comes by, it cuts the fish cleanly in half as soon as it touches the sword. So the apprentice is like, aha! The master puts his sword on the branch dangling into the water. Tree limb comes by, cuts the tree limb perfectly in half. A leaf comes by, cuts the leaf perfectly in half. A fish comes by and bounces off of it. It hits it, it just bounces off, goes away. So the apprentice is like, aha, I won. But a passing by monk witnessed the whole thing, said actually it was the master who won. Because the apprentice's sword, it kills innocent, it's bloodthirsty, it kills everything it touches. Whereas the master's sword is a more refined weapon. It doesn't shed unnecessary blood. It knows the difference between what should be cut and what should not be cut. So, therefore, the master won in this case. Showing kind of like a yin and yang, you know, theme that really ties into Final Fantasy VII also, even though the roles are a little bit reversed there. Sephiroth wields the Masamune, the Master Maker's sword, and that was supposed to be the sword of good. Realistically, he probably should have been using the Muramasa, because these are both real swordsmiths, and Muramasa's blades were said to be cursed, bloodthirsty, whereas Masamune's blade are literally Japanese national treasures to this day. They hold them as some of the most important things to their history. The greatest, you know, swordsmith known to man, possibly. So yeah, that's a pretty cool story behind all that. Sephiroth's sword is a really long katana, maybe called like a nadashi. Might have been used on horseback in, you know, ancient Japanese times, cut through the horse and the rider. See, now Cloud's sword, though, being so massive, it's like the Knights vs. Samurai type thing. They were kind of playing off that. They just gave him a massive broadsword, made it as big as they possibly could, right there on the cover art. You know, both these swords are pretty iconic. So yeah, probably not. There's the Knight vs. Samurai. Probably not ever really used a sword like this. I mean, it's possible somebody did. probably wasn't in Japan. But it's funny because these swords, but the Buster Sword more particularly, have influenced like all samurai swords to this day. They all kind of stemmed from this sword. There wasn't really anything before that that had, you know, a giant sword on somebody's back that was obviously like unwieldable. And now there's just, people love the Buster Sword. I love the Buster Sword. I mean, these swords are probably only about $100 a piece when I bought them, but man, they mean more to me than anything. Final Fantasy VII means a lot to me. And so these swords are kind of my physical incarnate of that. And just like Zack passed on his sword to Cloud, you know, it means something. It's a living legacy. You know, okay, maybe it's the living legacy of Final Fantasy VII. But hey, I got these two swords in my house, so I got a little shred of it. I got a little piece of it that's my own. And that's pretty cool, man. Like, you know, that'd be about the size of a sword that somebody would have to carry to be close to Cloud's sword. And yeah, I don't think anybody could wield a sword that long, that fast. Well, I guess neither of them can. Alright guys, well thanks for checking it out. I'm gonna close out with Sephiroth walking into the fire. Maybe show you the swords one more time. My Masamune and my Buster Sword. I love these swords a lot. I keep them well taken care of. I'm sure there's tons more out there. If you guys wanted to go out and get your own, there's tons of them still out there. There's probably 1,000 different versions you can buy online. Don't cut anybody in half. That's not good. And I'm Cheesecake. Check you in the next one, guys.